So we're making a video today about a fuel pressure regulator. Sorry. So we've been discovering that Isuzu doesn't really have, this 2.6 liter doesn't really have good aftermarket parts because it's almost extinct. So this is the 2.6 liter. This is the Isuzu Amigo. This is a 1992. This is the first gen Amigo. Same with the Rodeo 2.6 liter. Honda Passports, the biggest four-cylinder I know that I think that was ever really made.
Gasoline was.
Yeah, gasoline was, not diesel. But yeah, so the fuel pressure regulator seems to have a problem. Even the new aftermarket ones that they sell, I guess they can't handle the maybe they're not made up to spec, or maybe they can't handle the.
One review was that they weren't made to the correct pressure, and it was causing their stuff to run rough.
Right, and then other ones had, like this one, the diaphragm in it busts every so often. So it's hard to keep one that holds up, because I guess the ethanol in the fuel, back in '92, they didn't have ethanol, in the fuel. So maybe the ethanol's rotting the rubber, the old style, I don't know. So anyway, we've been hunting down a regulator that might work, and so we kind of settled on Honda's aftermarket regulator. This is you can get them pretty cheap because they're almost going out of style. So this is the Tomei brand racing regulators, so off-road regulators for Hondas. Of course, they'll fit any vehicle, but they make it for Honda. This Type S is for Honda, and this is what it looks like on here. And this is our first time putting it on and our first time testing it, and we just shut the engine off because we just tested the fuel pressure and we got it set. Now this is set in some other
kilogram per whatever,
right,
square centimeter.
Right, so you have to do the conversion on this gauge, but that's okay because we're not going to leave this gauge on here. We're going to put the set screw back in, the block off screw, and not have this gauge vibrating around on here. It'd probably look cool if we left it like that, but it doesn't really matter. This is an off-road truck, so it doesn't matter to me. But we need to have a suitable regulator in place of the factory regulator. And of course, this thing came with a little dampener. It's got a little rubber mount there. This part mounts to the intake, and just kind of sits there and holds it. And then, of course, this is the return style. So this is after the fuel pressure, the fuel rail.
Yeah, it's important.
Right, so this is the back of the fuel rail, so this is the end of the line. So pressure comes from the fuel rail, gets it from the fuel pump somewhere else, brings it into the fuel rail, lets the pressure out, go back into the regulator here, and then sends it back to the tank here. The unused fuel that the fuel pump doesn't use sends it back to the tank.
Regulates fuel at the back end.
Basically. Right, basically, yes. Not the front end, but the back end. Some regulate at the front end. This is the back end. So this is how these little four cylinders work. And so it does have a vacuum, and it will shoot up a couple of points. I think this vehicle's normal vacuum is like 36, I think, at idle, maybe 38 at idle, and then 42 or 43 at full running capacity when it's running, higher than idle. So 1,000 RPMs and up, maybe.
That'd be like with the vacuum hose attached, right?
I guess so. So we have tested it, and we have set this is supposed to be at like 2.5, whatever, kilometers per centimeter per somebody else's measurements, or foreign, European, etc., etc.
So it's 2.5 with the line on, and 3 with the line off.
Yeah, 2.5. What are they calling this?
Kilograms per square centimeter, or something.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
The Japanese way of telling pressure.
It might just be a Euro way. Whatever. It doesn't matter to me. I've never dabbled in the fuel pressure regulators enough, or fuel pressure in general, to get into that. But I do know what is suitable and what isn't. And so all we had to do was a quick conversion. Of course, you got Google for that nowadays. And if you didn't before, you had books. So we converted it. It's supposed to be like 2.5 and then 3 when you bump off the line. So let's start it up and check it out. Let's see what it's doing. And this pressure regulator is just kind of sitting here, right? Because this is not bolted up. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, good. 2.5 roughly. Here, focus this camera. Pull it off. Good. Bouncing up to 3. Back to 2.5. Alright, put it back on. Rev it up. Should go down. Should go up. Yeah. Oh yeah. Alright, it's doing what it's supposed to do. Shut it off. I got this. Alright, so all we have left to do is mount this thing. Now, if you wanted to mount it, you could put it on the firewall like everyone else does, or on the fender well, and run lines to it, okay? Because you got a line here coming off the fuel rail, and you got one here going to a steel line. It's a rubber hose, and this is 5/16, by the way. And so we could run some long lines and do all that, but I don't want to do that. I think we're going to mount straight to the same way the other one was mounted. And we're going to get rid of the gauge so it doesn't vibrate loose and break one day and cause leaks. And we're going to find a way to mount it. And I think we're going to use this old mount here. And maybe we can unscrew this bolt at the bottom or cut it off and use this plate. And we could use this plate to mount to that aftermarket Tomei regulator. And these things seem to be on the internet a dime a dozen for like $22. I think that's a higher end of paying for it. I've seen them for $19.
Yeah.
And this is a little tiny regulator, but it seems to be the right pressure for this vehicle. And it can go higher. And it's adjustable right here.
Nissan,
yes.
Mitsubishis.
Right, get the instruction, Billy. And it'll show all the shit that this thing is good for, right? Zoom that in. Focus that properly.
These would be regulator adapters.
Yeah, these are all adapters to go to the fuel rail, so you don't have a piece of rubber on there. But ours is a rubber line coming off the fuel rail, so that's acceptable. But yeah, I mean you got all these different numbers for different vehicles. This is in Japanese or Chinese or whatever. I think Japanese. This is the part number right here, right?
Yeah, we have the Type S.
Right here. What the hell's L?
I'm not sure what Type L means.
Okay. I just grabbed one of the first ones I thought that I read about that might work, that had a decent reputation for not failing within a couple of months, and said we're going to try it, and we got lucky with this one so far. So we're going to make a mounting bracket, like I said, and then put it on, and then let you guys know in the future if it did work out or it didn't over a long-term period. But so far, mounting, and it seems to idle much better and run much better and not give any problems. And anyway, hope this helps somebody out there about what it looks like to go aftermarket with a fuel pressure regulator because they're having so many problems trying to get one that holds up, because the aftermarket regulators suck and they don't make any new ones unless you find a new old stock, and then you got a problem with the diaphragm going bad with ethanol. So did they change the materials that they use? Did they use like a neoprene rubber in here to stop shit, this shit from getting eaten from ethanol being so dry? I don't know. I know it tears up lawnmower carburetors and diaphragms like crazy. So maybe the new regulators have something in them that's more resistant to ethanol. Maybe. All right. Thank y'all for watching, guys. All right, so we got them both off the truck. All right. So what we really need is this gauge facing forward, and we're going to put the little block off Allen set screw in there, or the little Allen cap. And then we have the port going to the tank, the port going out the side in the right direction. Film here, see? Out the side, back to the fuel rail, down to the tank. And then we can mount to the block right here. I mean, I'm sorry, to the
intake.
Yeah, to the intake. And the problem is, this Tomei came with a mount that was sideways here, and you see it's got these screws. So if we have to pull these screws and pull this bracket off, we can. And like I said, I was going to remove this nut, and I was going to show you how we might be able to jerry rig something. Sorry if anybody's named Jerry out there. Jerry rig this thing to fit this bracket, right? Kind of like a factory bracket. So we obviously can't go through that. So I'm thinking maybe this shank might sit inside of there, and if it does, we'll really get lucky, right? If it does, that'll be cool. And then I guess we can pull this off next. Stop that for a minute, I'll pull this off. Okay, so we got that loose. Of course, we'll put something better on here to seal it. We just threw some Teflon on it. Alright, so we pull this bracket off. Like I said, this is the one factory bracket with the dampener. It's got like a rubber grommet in there. Stop vibration. We're hoping that somehow this can fit. And we're looking at it and it doesn't really want to fit good, see?
Right.
It doesn't go over it and hug it tight. But that's okay, because we might have another solution we can do. Let's see how high this regulator sits up and we can close the hood right. Okay. This will be like that. It's damn close. The only thing we got is this. Maybe we can, it'll miss right here. It'll come right on this side here. It'll be fine. Maybe it'll just sit up right about here. I think it'll still work. But we need to find a way to mount it to this bracket. So my mounting procedure is probably to put a washer behind here and shim it just right between here and use this to hold it on. Right?
Yeah.
In between there and there. But that's really got to be shimmed close and correct.
Right.
So it doesn't vibrate loose or break off, right?
Right.
And then we put some new Recta-Seal or whatever we want to put on there, some gas sealer. But yeah, so that's what we got to do. So we'll get this mounted up and get the right, probably use some copper grommets.
Right.
Right, you know, like the old copper. Maybe the Harbor Freight box of copper. And we can maybe put one in here, maybe put one on here. Or I could take the drill out and end this problem right now by drilling this bracket just big enough to fit that. We do have another one of these brackets, correct?
Yes, we do.
From an older
Yes,
one
we do,
than
because
this.
we already changed that regulator out.
Right, this is the second time we changed this regulator in a year. So we know that the fuel is causing this thing a problem. Some people say it could be the fuel pump that's higher, but this is the same fuel pump that's been in here for the last 8 years. A Bosch, one that I changed. So how could the fuel pressure gain pressure, fuel pump? And we checked for blockages, there are no blockages. And this vehicle runs great. So what is the problem? A weak, outdated, aged pressure regulator. So let's drill this out and see what we come up with.
Yeah.
I think drilling it out would be better because that'll push us down more, clear this top more, and get us further down, right?
Right.
Okay. Okay, so we put it in a vise here and we drilled it out, and all we had was 1/2 inch cobalt. And so we ran out of bits because it looks like we're going to have to jump up to 9/16. And 9/16 is a very uncommon drill bit size, at least for me, because it's either 1/2 inch down, or if you get above 1/2 inch, then you get into the bigger drill bits that are, you know, obscure. So we found a step bit, and I hate to ruin my step bit, but it's just a cheap Harbor Freight step bit. So, you know, it looks like we'll be able to jump up to 9/16 if this bit will cut it. If it doesn't, then we'll jump up on the other side. I don't know if you guys know what a step bit is, but we use this in electrical work to cut holes in cheap pot metal and sheet metal boxes and stuff like that.
A little bit thicker than sheet metal.
Yeah, we're a lot thicker. And let's see where we are. Alright, well look, I mean it didn't even mess up the bed. And it didn't go all the way through yet, but I'm saying it's not bad. There it is, now it is. And I like the step bit because it knocks the ridge away, right?
Yeah.
So if you got a ridge like that, you got that little ridge on there, and you want to get rid of that crap. Look at me, I'm selling a Harbor Freight bit. Not really, I mean, marketing it. Alright, stop that for a minute. Alright, so we had to stop and get the Tomei, however you pronounce this, Tomei
Whatever.
pressure regulator. And look at that. Is it really close or what?
Very
I mean,
close.
9/16 is super close. I could almost press that aluminum in and it would hold it tight. Look at that. And you know what? I might actually do that. Jeez, that's tight. Look.
Oh yeah. Good.
I mean, it's perfect tight, right?
Yeah, if we can press that on.
So if all of these pressure regulators are machined the same, these billet aluminum Tomeis?
If they're Japanese, they probably are.
Right, okay, I like Japan stuff too. Okay, so, and Germany. But if we could just put a you know, a set of washers right here and tighten this down,
Yeah.
right? And then that would hold our bracket on, right?
Yes.
But I think this is upside down, isn't it?
No, it's not.
The bracket.
Oh, the bracket's
Yeah.
the bracket's upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's get it off. Jeez, let's see if the other side's tapered like that, right? This is realistically, this is how the bracket would go on. Still tight. Okay.
Yep, that's how it would go on.
So we'd remove this bracket, put this one on.
Right.
So if anybody's got an Isuzu and they need to do this, they could buy a $22 regulator instead of an $89 regulator. It doesn't
probably
work.
won't work. Yeah.
Right. Perfect. Okay. All right. So we took the gauge out, and we're putting our plug in. Right.
What is that white stuff?
That's Recta-Seal, thread sealer.
So it's like what, liquid Teflon tape?
Yeah, basically, that's what it is, and that's what I'm using on this. You know, they say, some people say you can do it, some people say you can't, some people say that's what this is for. When I worked in the fuel industry, what do you think we put those quick couplers on with at the fuel stations?
Right.
Every time somebody drove off with a pump sticking, you know, the nozzle sticking in the damn gas tank, we replaced the quick coupling connectors with this, or we put on a new hose, or we replaced the damn machine, or sections of the machine, or anything. We used this, you know.
So you can use that to seal all your.
We also used it for sprinkler fitted, pipe fitting for sprinklers.
So it seals out then. That's good.
Well, we had this, and we had some that was yellow colored, and we had different colors, but it's worked, you know. So was the company wrong for letting us use this? I don't know, but it worked. You know, it's been a long time since I did that, but that's what we did. Okay.
And press our bracket on now.
Well, we got this. I guess I better keep this here so it stays a little kind of clean. We got to get rid of this.
Got it.
What do we have for that? Big Allen wrenches. Cut. We'll come back. Okay, we got a little Allen wrench. It was right here on a little bitty Allen wrench. Okay. Alright, there's the bracket. What do we need? Should we put this back on? Yeah, to hold this regulator together. Looks like it's riveted together here, here, and here. So it's got four rivets holding it on, and then they got these two that have nuts on them. Probably ought to put this on.
Yeah.
To help the diaphragm stay together. Because I think this is where the diaphragm is.
Just in case.
This thing is cheap enough to buy two of them, and if it fails in a year or 2 years, it's still worth it to change this out, you know, honestly. And I don't, you know, you'd buy them at the same time because these things will probably go out of stock at some point, probably soon. I'm just guessing because it looks like they're trying to get rid of an overstock or what they have left on hand because nobody's really probably doing old-fashioned Hondas anymore. You know, when I say old-fashioned, I mean 90s Hondas, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The newer cars probably have some.
The newer cars don't exactly have a what do they call it, return style.
They might have something totally different. You know?
They do. It's not what is it called, a return list style. It's some other type because it uses a PCM computer instead of.
Oh, you mean electronic?
Yeah, it uses electronics to regulate fuel, not a mechanically.
Right. Okay, so they're probably trying to get rid of these
regulator.
because nobody's doing the Fast and the Furious anymore, right?
There we go.
Okay. Okay. It's an easy way to say it.
Yeah.
All right. So we got this thing together. We just need to put this together. How did I say it would go? Okay. What the hell am I doing? All right.
There we go.
That's right.
Yep, that end toward the fuel rail.
Okay. How about I just clean this up a little bit? Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Remind me to turn that TV off when I go inside. All right. That was dangerous. All right. I love my fans on YouTube that they're not fans, they're actually people that want to learn, like me. When they come and comment and say things. And then I like the haters that come in and comment too. They kind of make me, You can tell when
Blush.
well, you can tell when they're starving for affection. They're like, please notice me, please. I want to say something ugly about your videos, but I'm not sure what to say. Let me just pick on the first thing I can find, because I'm an insecure little man.
Quick break from that subject. You wouldn't tap on that, would you? That'd be bad, wouldn't
What,
it?
to tap on the regulator?
Yeah, tap on the bracket to get it onto the
I
regulator.
don't see why it would make a difference. It wouldn't hurt this thing.
All right.
But I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to get this straight and then put some washers under here and tighten it up, right?
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
So, look, I mean,
Yeah, there we go.
That's the lip we're sitting on, right?
Yeah, it's fitting on good enough for washers to help it.
Right, and so we'll straighten it out. We'll tap it straight, just a little bit, when we're ready. And then we'll get it straight. If I wanted to get stupid, I could get a big pair of channel locks and squeeze it right here.
Or use the vise or something.
And press it on. But I don't want to do that. You know, I don't want to damage this billet aluminum or anything. Risk. But this is how it's going to go. Right? It's going to be bolted on like this. And so we'll just take a final video at the end, or a picture.
Yes.
When we put it on, okay? Alright. Alright, so that's on. I mean, if I wanted to do any better than this, I could put a rubber grommet between here and here.
Yeah.
Like a big rubber grommet.
Let me see your setup on the side.
I know what would work on this. A bunch of hose bib, black grommets.
Oh yeah.
For your hose.
Like for washing machine connectors.
Yeah, or your garden hose.
Right.
Right. Put a couple of them in, like 2 or 3 of them in there. Probably 2 of them. Doom doom. And that would help you any vibration sideways, you know.
Although it already has a vibration right there on the grommet.
Yeah, that's a brass or copper washer, and that's a regular washer. I would have used 2 steel washers if that's all I had, because it's still aluminum against steel. This is aluminum, by the way. And so anyway, it's tight. It's on there, and it's good. I mean, it's probably not perfectly straight, but who cares?
Now we do a final leak check after.
Yeah. Put this thing on a truck. All right. So taking a quick look about putting it on, looks like we're gonna come up to about right here. Look, see, that's our hose lining up, factory style place. And look at our lower hose. We just need to cut it a little bit right here. Cut a little off of it, right?
Yeah.
Make it a little shorter, which we probably need to take some off anyway.
Be a healthy connection.
Put some better aftermarket clamps on it. And then right here, this will go on there. Put an aftermarket clamp on there. And look, it's going to bring us down a little bit. This looks like it'll probably clear the hood. And this is where we are. It's going to be close, but we'll find out. If not, I wonder if we can do anything to this. And who knows? We'll see. Let's test it and see. Let's go. One more final note I want to make about this is in the mounting of this. So if this is not low enough right here, this vacuum tit right here, this vacuum elbow, if it's not low enough and you can't do anything about it, then we'll mount it. Then we'll mount the entire thing lower right here. We still have that much space to drill this out, so we can go more than 9/16 and go down more. Okay. And of course we're there trying to figure out how do we mount this. But at that point, I'd probably stick this on a piece of rubber underneath here in a washer. I'd put a piece of rubber underneath here to kind of pull it down, to hold it down and let it vibrate how it wants to, but against a piece of rubber on here. So I'd stick a grommet on this side and then put these washers back on to hold the grommet. So it would act like almost like an engine mount or a cushion, right? And then it should drop it down definitely low enough to at least be even with this hose right here.
Right.
And that's what we need, right?
Definitely.
Okay.
The final result. And it does not get in the way and the hood can close.